Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Pipebomb Radio tonight. Great night tonight. Actually, going over my Facebook today, I actually noticed, thanks to my partner here, that spring forward is right around the corner. Yes, I'm going to whine because I am a polar bear. I would prefer winter, all year round winter. I guess I should just take my happy ass back over, go over to Alaska or something. Hell, I don't know. But nonetheless, welcome everybody to the show.
March 9th, my inner morning monster will be resurrecting from the dead. So I'll become, on March 9th, the morning of March 9th, I'll become the most unapproachable person you will ever meet in this entire world.
I thought you were already that person. Go figure.
Most of the time. More so on
But anyways,
March 9th.
Austin, I want you to tell everybody listening tonight about our guest that's going to be joining us here.
Well, we've actually had the reputation over the years of Pipebomb Radio actually bringing some of the best independent wrestling stars.
Yeah.
And actually, and then eventually they go on to do really great things. Look at Michael Logan, in the main events of Ring of Honor. Attempting to get the world title and stuff. So, and he's still doing that. And Chris Jones is a technically sound just wrestler. He's only been doing it for 2 years professionally, and he's so good at what he does. And I'm not just saying that. I don't just say.
Some people just catch on quick. Some people are, it's something that they see and they just start to do and do well. And some are fast learners, where others, they take forever in while learning it and eventually never really make it.
Well, you actually said learning. Learning
he's
is
got something built in him. What's that?
Learning is the key word here, because he's actually learned from one of the absolute best in professional wrestling, Billy Robinson, a technical master in every sense of the word, and he's trained from. He actually learned from him. I'm going to tell you about more of that in the interview, but that's just a brief description of who Chris Jones is.
Well, I have a feeling he might be calling in right now. Shall we bring him on, or did you have any further announcements to make before we do?
No, that's good.
All right, well, fire away. Let's bring him on and get this party started. Good evening. How you doing?
Great. You?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you there? Alrighty. Well, I think Austin has done some great introduction for you today. I'll let him fire off with the first couple of questions. So, go for it.
The first obvious question is going to be, how was it like training with Billy Robinson?
Oh,
off the bat?
Man. Just amazing. The highlight of my career thus far. I grew up hearing his name, knowing he was a legend and highly respected in the business. And I grew up and I started watching his matches. And I could see why he was talked about as much as he was, and why he is a legend. He's just one of the best there is when it comes to mat wrestling and catch as catch can, and just a worker as a whole.
Now, when you were young, did you actually start watching, were you just off the bat, from the first part, start of you watching wrestling, did you get into all this, Billy Robinson stuff? Because people usually, when they're 7 or 8 years old, wouldn't be thinking about going on YouTube, watching World of Sport or something. Were you from the start watching that?
I was not. I was mostly watching WWF and WCW, but I started getting into tape trading, and I got into Japanese wrestling and older stuff from the 70s, and so.
Nice.
I imagine, because I know WCW is actually really known for bringing in some of the best wrestlers Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero. I mean, the list goes on.
I knew you were going to bring them into this.
Yeah, I have to bring it up. Yeah, you have to. Any of those guys, you kind of study to bring into a little bit of experience, into what you're doing today.
Oh, absolutely. All of the guys you named, and just the whole movement of the mid-'90s when they started focusing really on work rate and ECW and the WCW Cruiserweight division, all of those guys have had a big impact on me.
Now, Austin was telling me that you just recently started a few years ago getting into the professional wrestling business. What were some of your inspirations into wanting to pursue the career? I mean, for those of us who don't know, obviously Austin knows, because according to him he knows everything. But we'll get on. That's beside the point. I'll let you explain.
24/7. I know everything.
Yeah.
Have a guest. Quiet.
The When I grew up, I thought it would be cool to be a professional wrestler, but I never really saw myself doing it, like, legit, until I watched a match from All Japan Pro Wrestling, Mitsuharu Misawa and Toshiaki Kawada from June 3rd, 1994, which, yes, world-renowned match. And,
now, were you
go ahead.
I'm sorry, continue.
Oh, and that match, I mean, the match itself was amazing and one of the greatest ever, but it was like the slow-motion highlights that All Japan did, you know? That made the match just seem like a masterpiece. It seemed like poetry in motion, and it just made me want to do it, and that was...
I love the way you say that. This poetry in motion, poetry in motion kind of describes what technical wrestling is. I mean, you see, you like, I was actually posting about this a few days ago, about New Japan Pro Wrestling, how they're always presenting, and you can even say the same with World of Sports, they're always presenting the purest form of wrestling that you can possibly get. And I mean, I think it's so entertaining to watch. Instead of, I'm not saying that, other styles of wrestling isn't cool, but technical wrestling, there's a true, art to it.
Now, Chris, did you actually work some time in Japan?
I did not. I trained a little bit there, though.
Okay. Have you been, if the opportunity presented itself, it's a silly question to ask, but would you take a chance and travel around Japan for a little bit to maybe, I don't know, figure out what, if there's something that you want to do out there, or do you see yourself more or less getting into something out here as far as the sports entertainment genre, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor? Every different company has obviously their own brand of entertainment. Where would you see yourself as far as where you want to work, I should say?
Well, Japan is my WWE, so that's my main goal, is to be in Japan, be a regular in Japan.
That's actually a good learning experience. As some of our prior guests, the Von Erichs, the sons of Kevin Von Erich, actually have been training out there and working out there, and definitely getting a great understanding of the Japanese culture as well as their appreciation for professional wrestling. They actually appreciate the sport of it. The entertainment is good, but they look at it from a different aspect, as Austin was talking about.
And so it's like you're saying with people actually starting there. Look at people like William Regal, Eddie Guerrero, Pegasus, Chris Benoit. All those guys started there and went on to do some of the greatest things in professional wrestling. And I think it'd be awesome just to see you in New Japan Pro Wrestling, or anywhere in Japan, like Noah, wherever it may be, actually see you there. But how is it, I'm not really sure, how would you actually get in, what is the operation to actually get into, have the opportunity to wrestle there?
Well, it seems that, New Japan Pro Wrestling is one promotion that is very WWE-esque in the sense that they want a great look and charisma. They look for that before they look for in-ring talent such as Pro Wrestling Noah, which you see a lot of younger guys going into Noah that are more about the wrestling aspect than the entertainment aspect. And in New Japan, you see a lot of bring in bigger guys who have a great look, but are not as good in the ring as some of the younger guys in Noah.
And actually, just out of curiosity, since you brought it up earlier, when you were watching the obvious Monday Night Wars, which side were you on during that time frame?
Well,
were you like a teenager during that time? Were you or how young were you during the Monday Night Wars were around?
Well, let's see. I was 6 to 12, I believe. 6 to 11 or 12. Were
you allowed to watch during that time? The Attitude Era was pretty crazy back then.
Yeah, I was. I was more a WWF guy because that's what I grew up on the most, but I still watch WCW. I love the Cruiserweight division. That's mostly what I would pay attention to when I watch WCW.
And if you had the opportunity to work with somebody that, maybe of Austin's, some of Austin's favorites, or even just any in general that you would like to work with or have worked with, could you name a few guys that you'd like to work with, or have you worked with that you've been, obviously wanting to for a long time, you finally made that happen, maybe something off of your bucket list, so to speak?
There are quite a few guys. One of the main guys that I would have to say would be Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
And for those of us who don't know who he is, could you guys tell us a little about him? Who is he?
He's a British guy. He mostly works in Pro Wrestling Noah now, but he works all over the world. And he's just an amazing wrestler. He's a throwback to World of Sport and a great hybrid cross of World of Sport and shoot style.
Very cool.
I love that you say that about him, like how you described him. That's right, because right when I seen him, I'm like, that just, he looks like some people that I remember, like, when watching World of Sport and stuff like that. He looks like he would fit so perfectly well in that era and that time,
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
well, I want to know, I don't think I actually talked to you about this in a past time. Who were you trained by?
Originally, you just said that. Also, it wasn't originally Billy Robinson?
No, it wasn't. It was
okay, my bad.
Yes, it was a guy by the name of Sarge Riley. He's based out of the West Tennessee area. And then I went on to train with Billy for a couple of weeks this past summer, which was just an amazing experience. I learned so many things.
Now, getting into, actually training with Billy Robinson, I was actually I like to watch a ton of his videos because he's an excellent instructor. Like, even though sometimes I think he gets, if you don't get it right a few times, he kind of gets angry with you. But, I think he wants you to really invest your entire time with him because the person like Billy Robinson, actually having to go under his wing for a bit, that's a really, it's a really big thing to do. How was it like, actually, I'm talking like you really getting in detail training with him? Was he really hands-on?
Well, here's the way, there are multiple classes at the gym that he trains at. So I had just got done doing kickboxing class, and we were doing our push-ups and all of that, and he walked in, and I just got really nervous. Really nervous because, I had never seen him live before. I had never met him, and he just walks in the door, and it's just, I was really nervous, and then kickboxing class was over, and then catch class with Billy began, and he's basically an instructor who looks for perfection. If you do it good, that's not enough for him. He wants it perfect. And it's a really interesting approach because he wants his students at their best. He wants his students to be the best that they can be. He doesn't think adequate is good enough.
Yeah, I was actually seeing when one of the students were doing a move, like they were just like working with each other, and Billy was just like walking around the room, and then these two students, they felt like they absolutely had the move down pat, and then Billy just walks by like, no, you're doing it wrong. Let me show you how you really do it. I thought that was so funny because he wants, like you were saying, everything to be perfect. And even though you can look so perfect, but then once he sees it, he points out just the littlest things.
Oh yes, absolutely. It could be, you could do the technique really, really well, and there's probably a way you can do it better according to him, which is true, and he'll show you that you could do it better. It's just amazing.
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, when Billy walked in, were you the one guy that actually knew who he was? Or were there other training guys that you were you're training with? Did anybody know who he was?
In Catch as Catch Can, most of his students are aiming for MMA rather than professional wrestling, so most of them don't know who he is until they take classes with him.
Oh. So, what I was going to say, I'm trying to stop here. When your parents, did they agree with you doing professional wrestling, or were they kind of like against it at birth?
They were okay with it, but not against it in any way, no.
No. So they wanted you to become like a doctor or a lawyer, a generic job description?
Gee, aren't you nice?
Oh, excuse
I
me?
understand. I'm saying, so they want you to become like they had aspirations for you becoming like a doctor or a lawyer?
Oh, well, they probably would have preferred that, but
yeah.
I wanted to be a professional wrestler.
And if you had the opportunity to work with a performer either in WWE or TNA, who would you like to see yourself step in the ring with from either two, or even Ring of Honor currently? We were talking about some before we brought you on. Would you like to, or would you see yourself working with some of those guys, or if so, who, I should say?
Yes, Daniel Bryan.
Amen.
That'd be an interesting match. Yeah.
Me too. We have so much in common. Hey, Daniel Bryan. What about anybody from Ring of Honor? I think you would have I think first you need to get yourself there, because these are really guys that are from Ring of Honor. I don't know. They have openings to Japan for some reason. I see a lot of guys from there going to Japan, from Ring of Honor. Who do you think from Ring of Honor? There's a ton of guys to choose from that you would want to have a match with. And you think you have a really spectacular wrestling match with?
I would have to say maybe Eddie Edwards.
Oh, that's a great choice.
Perfect, yeah.
I'd have to ask you too. NWA, run by current president Bruce Tharp, they travel to Japan quite a bit. Whereabouts do you normally wrestle, and have you tried to maybe reach out to the NWA, maybe about bringing you in for maybe one of their territories, or even getting a chance to travel in Japan with them? I mean, they go there, it seems like almost every other month.
I mostly work in West Tennessee, but I have been venturing out.
Okay.
The first time I've worked out of Tennessee was last month. I worked in Bay Springs, Mississippi, and I'm working there again this Friday. And I'm also going to go to Metropolis, Illinois, to work for Chaos Pro Wrestling on April 11th. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I haven't contacted NWA yet.
Definitely something to think about, considering they're definitely. I mean, they're not as looked at as serious as they once were. But the company, it's definitely a great company to be a part of. I mean, they've got great talent, and they wrestle the great talent in the talented guys in Japan as well. And just for the fact that the learning experience of getting to go back there and working with some great guys, definitely an opportunity. Hopefully that comes your way.
Oh yeah, thank you. I hope so too.
But now, as far as your style, and Austin, like I said, he's a little bit more familiar with your style than I am. But I want to ask you, because I've always been a fan of the manager aspect, what they bring. Do you feel that your character is maybe okay without a manager on a mic, for talking for yourself, or would you feel like you could see yourself with maybe one of the managers from the past, or even maybe a few that are still around, as maybe talking for you as your mouthpiece, so to speak?
Well, it really depends on the promotion. Like right now, I don't have to really do any talking. My character is basically like a serious type wrestler, so I don't really need a mic right now. But there might come a point where I do need a mic, and I'm not the best talker, so I might need a mouthpiece.
Who would you see yourself as having as maybe a good representative for you?
Oh, excuse me?
Who would you say is a good representative? Who would be a great representative for Chris Jones? Maybe somebody to have as a manager. If you had your pick of which manager you could choose, who would you go for? Who do you think would fit your character best? There's so many managers to choose from these days. I mean, even from the past, there's just so many great managers.
There is. See, it's really hard to come up with one, because mostly when you think manager, you think them managing a heel. You don't see many managers managing a baby face, especially being a mouthpiece for them. So it's really tough.
That's true. That's true.
From the past. Yeah, most of the managers I can think of were.
Well, how about this?
still
Maybe a valet. What do you think about a valet? Maybe.
I honestly have nothing.
That's okay. That's all right. Hopefully, when that time comes around, you'll be able to get put with somebody who or even then, maybe you'll establish skills on the mic and be a hell of a talker. Because there's been a hell of a great talkers from the past that have come around, and I'm sure with in your young start of your career, you're going to develop those skills and be a hell of a talker yourself.
Thank you.
I might have them already.
So as well.
Well, I mean that. I didn't hear what you said, Austin. What'd you say?
I said, or he might have them already. You never know. I mean, I haven't really.
You're right. I don't know that.
But speaking of actually guys you've actually wrestled, in this day, like within the past few years, name some of your opponents that you've actually had the chance of wrestling. I'm not going to tell your matches, but name some of the people who might not know and where they can actually go and actually watch them if they haven't seen everything.
Well, right now, I believe my biggest feud has been with a guy by the name of Osby Tomlin. You can find our Steel Cage match, which was a Loser Leaves Town match on YouTube. As far as names go, I haven't really worked with many names as of yet.
And that guy's good too.
Excuse me?
I said, and Osmond's good too. He's really good. Like you guys really, like I was watching like the Steel Cage match, and anybody that hasn't seen it needs to go check it out. And just type in Chris Jones on YouTube, and I think you can find it there. And just the Steel Cage match with him and Osmond it's really good. Really good. Both sides really work together well.
Thank you.
And as far as you were talking about earlier, too, you mentioned a few of the dates where you're going to be traveling outside of Tennessee. Whereabouts are your upcoming shows in the next few weeks that you got coming up? You mentioned some in April. We're finishing up February here in a couple days. You got any upcoming shows in the next few days or next week or so?
I do. I have a show in Bay Springs, Mississippi for Mississippi Wrestling Corps on Friday the 28th. And then I will be in Dyersburg, Tennessee for All American Wrestling on Saturday.
Nice. And do you actually have social media where your fans can keep track of all your appearances and so forth? Maybe a Twitter, Facebook, or a fan page, or a website, anything to that extent?
Oh yes, I have Twitter and I have Facebook.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have a Twitter page. It's all personal and career. It's just mixed into one. And on Facebook, I have a personal page and a fan page.
So they would just type up your name and would it bring up your fan page as well?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Alrighty.
Now,
go ahead.
One last question to basically end this. Where do you see yourself in, let's say, 5 years?
Hopefully international in some capacity, whether it's Japan, England, Germany, Mexico. Just wherever. Hopefully a regular in Japan.
Keep on doing what you're doing, because I don't just say like anything, but they're really praising you, what you actually do in the ring, and you're really good. And I'm not just saying that. I think you're really good, and I honestly think you wouldn't even take 5 years. If somebody actually notices you and brings you in, they're gonna notice something really good. And I hope you have some really good chances, in the future to actually be able to go there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
As far as myself, I can tell you this much, Chris, that over the last couple of weeks, as we were discussing that you were going to come on, he's not kidding. He's definitely been telling me how good a performer you are in just a few years into the business, and he definitely sees you main eventing, whether it be anywhere in any company in the world. Definitely going to be a superstar for years to come. He's been definitely tooting your horn quite a bit. And on my side, as far as on behalf of Austin and myself, we want to definitely thank you for taking time and sitting down with us and telling us a little bit about who Chris Jones is.
Anytime. I appreciate it. I would come back anytime.
You know what? Get with Austin, and we'll definitely see something up for the future, maybe later this year or something. But yeah, definitely get with Austin on that, and I know we'll definitely get something set up for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, man. You have yourself a good night, man.
You have a good night too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. And there you have it, folks. Wrestling superstar Chris Jones. Definitely a natural. If you haven't checked him out, bring him to a territory near you. Did I say that? Yes, I did.
Territory, yeah.
I don't think we have any territories these days. But
yeah.
What's that?
I was like, are they even existing? I thought they were in the grave. I thought the Undertaker buried them or something. They have a story.
Well, according to historians, they say Vince McMahon did that. He killed territories, but
okay. I
don't know about that. Who?
I thought the Undertaker did that. I thought he just went around burying territories.
You're a funny man. You're a funny little man.
Well, actually, it couldn't have been that way because Vince, he created the Undertaker. But anyway, it was Chris Jones. Like I was saying, like you were saying, how much I praise him for what he does. The thing is, what amazes me so much about him is he's only been doing this for like 2 years, and being how good he is right now, imagine how good he's going to be in 5 years or 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, all he can do is continue to go up from there and start getting noticed. And I don't know if he ever really wants to walk that aisle at WrestleMania. Maybe that's something he'll eventually aspire to be as he's been in the business a few more years. But getting an education in Japan, I definitely have to say it's a great idea. I would love to see him work with Bruce Tharpe in NWA and get to work with the talent they have there. And, you and I both know we follow Mr. Tharpe and even for that matter, the former champion Rob Conway, as they constantly go down to Japan quite a bit.
Well, you know that the NWA World Champion right now is from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Sashi Ikoma. He's the New Japan Pro Wrestling champion right now. So, and it's all about networking, getting with people, trying to get you looked at, and trying to talk to different people that know how to get to certain places. Because in professional wrestling, it's all about who you know.
These days, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we were going to talk about it in the beginning, but we'll discuss it a little bit now. After the launch, the successful launch, well, I'm not going to lie, there was a little bit of problems for a lot of people who couldn't get on, but I mean, they got their free trial. They got in after a little bit of, I know I got up at the time when it opened, and it took me 3.5 hours to actually get through, but eventually I got through. And let me just say, if you haven't got the WWE Network, you're missing out. Got some great material.
Definitely.
I was actually watching the Royal Rumble 1999 last night. And just a lot of great material that they're going to have. They're going to start putting in there little by little.
I was actually playing a joke with somebody yesterday. I'm like, I had my phone in my hand. I'm like, in my hand, I hold so much WWE programming. It's such I can work out with this. It's so heavy. Everything's on here. Everything really is on there. It's packed with so much stuff. It's so, I almost cried. I was freaking out because I signed up for it. Then I see everything that was on there. I'm like, this is not possible. It's almost like it's illegal or something. Like, how are they giving this away? It's like sacred.
And, I got to say, people, you know what? I've been known to complain a lot. I'm not going to lie. I'm a complainer. As Austin would say, I'm a complainer. But you know what? People love to bitch and complain about the cons of having the network. Oh, no, it's going to ruin wrestling forever. I mean, come on. Really?
How's it ruining?
Nobody can enjoy anything. Everybody wants to live a miserable life every day of their life.
Yep,
I just love to complain and moan because that's just what I like to do. But I'm not an unhappy person.
That's kind of the nature of wrestling fans. They kind of think everything's bad. I don't know.
Even with the although I missed a little bit of Raw, I did catch up. I watched the pre-show, and then I watched Raw, and then I watched it backstage, and I was impressed. I was very, very impressed. The idea, the concept. I'm hoping it'll get just a little bit better. I mean, their first shot out there was good, but I know it can get better. And getting to see the Hulkster return, what an ovation. Dude, I'm telling you, WrestleMania 30, he makes his way out to the Superdome, you are not going to even be able to hear yourself think on how loud it's going to get there. I am not even joking. WrestleMania 21 in the Staples Center was loud in a damn Superdome. Holy moly.
When he walked out yesterday night on Raw, the beginning of Raw, I had goosebumps on my arms. I'm like, I cannot. I mean, if this made me get goosebumps just on Raw, WrestleMania 30 is going to be like my whole entire body is going to be looking like a medical subject from Africa or something. No, not from Africa. I'm not going to say from Africa. From a planet down. No, not Australia either. Okay, never mind. I'm probably going to look like a
Point
human
is that
being
you were
with,
excited.
like,
Point is
yes,
that you were
exactly.
excited.
And, I mean, it's WrestleMania 30. Hulk Hogan hasn't been at WrestleMania since 2021, like you said, right? In California.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, actually, that's about right. Well, hold on. Let's see, he wrestled. I mean, at 21. No, that's it. Yeah. He hasn't wrestled at WrestleMania since 21. He hasn't been with the company in about 7 years. But it was good to see him come back. I know his and Vince's relationship has been always a roller coaster, but Vince has always welcomed him because, I mean, they made him be the Babe Ruth of WWE.
Oh, no. There would be no WWE. Like, as successful as it is right now, there would be no WWE without Hulk Hogan. Without how successful he made the company and got a notice, without him at the upstart of, the start of WWE, the company.
But you know what,
all
though?
The merchandise
It may not have happened, though. What if Vince didn't choose Hogan to be the one to lead the way? Where do you think they would have been today?
I don't know. I don't know where.
He didn't really know. He took a gamble on Hogan. He didn't know right off the bat that Hogan was going to be as successful as he was.
Yeah. He wasn't. All the merchandise, everything went to him at first. So I mean, that's what happened. But you talk about returns. Hulk Hogan's return was one thing, but the Phenom is back.
And he left a message. Definitely, he didn't have to say much. He's never been one to always, he's not a real big talker, very much. But when he's on.
What?
Definitely on. Excuse me, the Dead Man character really doesn't talk as much as people think does. You think he does. I mean, he has recently in the last few years, but normally his character is pretty quiet, pretty stoic, and he does his talking. He doesn't really do talking. He just kind of does facial expressions and is very quiet, but you get the point. What?
He's really good at sign language.
He's really good at smiling? What?
No, he's real good at sign language. He looks at he really is, because he can do certain things, and everybody knows. He looks at WrestleMania and he's like, okay, and he looks down at Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker WrestleMania. He chooses who he wants to wrestle every single year. Nobody.
And then literally stabs him in the hand with a pen. Excuse me.
No, I wanted to be more extravagant than what it was. I wanted for him to smash his hand through the table and fire just goes to the ring, and then electricity goes into the ring like a lightning bolt. I wanted to be like that.
Well, you know what? Some things are better left for later, and sometimes you really don't have to make a big noise. The Undertaker really has never been. Well, he has been made. He's made big noise before, but even this little thing that he did was just lighting the fuse, so to speak. Lighting the fuse of what's to come, because you know what? Between him and Brock Lesnar over the years, they've always been one to one-up each other, both of them. And I know that this is not the last we've seen of Brock and Heyman.
And we actually seen. Remember, I don't know if you ever seen this video. It was from a UFC event. I think Brock Lesnar was the main event. And then he came out of the cage and he passed the Undertaker up. The Undertaker was sitting at ringside, and then Brock.
I remember.
It was Taker that asked him, "You want to do it one more time?" or something like that. And then he shook his head. And I don't think he actually shook his head. I think he just still looked at him.
It's been about 3 years, roughly. Not even 3 exact years, but 2.5 years. But they finally made it happen. People question it. People complain. Nobody wants to see the broken down Undertaker. You know what? He doesn't really. You can say what you want. Haters are always going to hate.
Yeah.
I've learned that a long time ago, and that's that.
He is one of the absolute best, because he can, and I'm not going to slate anybody in any way, but constantly, every single year, WrestleMania, he puts on a better show than most guys on the card. Most of the time. I mean, and he's, how old is he? Like 50-something?
No, not even close.
40.
He just barely turned. Actually, he will be turning 49 this year. 49.
Okay, close. Well, that's close to 50. Anyway, but I'm saying that anyway, no matter how old he is, he always constantly, every single year, puts on the best show. Like, I think more people go to WrestleMania to see the Undertaker rather than any other match on the card.
Agreed. But keep in mind, many obviously know he doesn't have very many WrestleManias left. Definitely cherish these last few that he's got, that he will be performing at. You know, people are questioning if it's ever going to happen with him and Sting. I'm almost sure it'll definitely happen.
Next year, California.
Well, it won't happen this year, obviously. That's an obvious. But Sting. There's nothing left for Sting in WWE, in TNA. There was really nothing left for him. They're going in a different direction now. Sting doesn't really fit into the picture, and it just seems right. I mean, people, the diehard Sting fans, wanted him to be the outlaw, the one that never really went to work for Vince, the one that was the rebel, the one that just stayed away from WWE for the rest of his career. But deep down, I knew Sting really wanted to do one good run, one last hurrah, because Sting's, he's up there in age too, and between the two of them, worked well. I think they could definitely put on one of those once-in-a-lifetime type matches.
And you know what's cool about those two guys is that they, no matter what age they are, like I think they're both around similar ages, I think, right now, and they still can put on a great wrestling match.
And really had to put Sting in that many matches. If he wants to wrestle, put him in a couple of matches, maybe 1 or 2 matches in a year, or 3 matches or whatever. And then, in the meantime, as he's preparing to, train to face The Undertaker next year, and Undertaker make appearances from time to time, and, I think it could be a great build. I really do. And I know I just have this strange feeling. I'm sticking to this feeling that we'll see Sting appear after WrestleMania. Because if you've noticed, over the last few years, big surprises usually happen after WrestleMania. The day after Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw, the day after, I have to find a way to get tickets, because I know if I don't get tickets to the Raw WrestleMania, I'm going to cry and hyperextend both of my knees.
Well, you can always watch it. You can always stay home and watch it in front row in your living room, like you always tell me.
You're hilarious, but I'm saying if I don't get tickets, I'm going to hyperextend both of my knees and just kick myself. Well, I couldn't kick myself, I'll hyperextend my knees, but I'll be really mad because it's Sting. Sting is like an icon. He's one of my favorites of all time. And just him being there Raw the next night, it's I can't imagine it, but at the same time, I kind of can. I don't know. It's just going to be an unreal moment. But if anything's going to happen, I think Kid versus Sting is going to happen at WrestleMania 31 because Venice Beach, California. Sting, even though it's not going to be in Venice Beach, but California Sting.
You know what, though, folks? I have to say right off the bat, Austin, with our guest and with just all the things that have happened in the last 24 hours, he's just so Twitter-pated. He's so Twitter-pated he can't think straight. And everything has just got him giddy because he's so excited. He's so excited with everything coming up. I understand. Hey, if you're a wrestling fan, I'm sure you would be excited too, and it shows. Obviously, Austin is loving what he's got, loving where he's going to be soon. And, yes, I'm sure he's going to brag to death about being in WrestleMania 30 when I wasn't. But then again, I bragged last year when I was at 29 in New York, and he wasn't.
Yeah. And I don't understand why
I met The Undertaker, and he didn't. Ha! Yes, I bragged.
Great. I should just go meet everybody at WrestleMania Access and be like,
I hope you do. I really do.
Yeah, I met Bruno Sammartino. Huh.
I hope you do. And tell him, you know what? Hey, I'm Austin from Pipebomb Radio. You remember me?
No.
I really hope you do. That way he can meet you and know who you are and how knowledgeable you are about wrestling. I think he would really get a kick out of that.
Yeah. I hope he actually remembers me because I go up to him and he's like, my name's Austin. I'm from Pipebomb Radio interviews last year. And he's like, oh, okay. I mean, I hope he remembers.
Well, he may not. I don't know. I mean, he seems like he's pretty coherent and remembers things, so.
Well, that's a lot of things are happening right now in professional wrestling. Like, WWE Network, I think it's going to change a lot of things because I think TNA right now is probably just really jealous. No, hold on. A few months, I promise you, the unveiling of TNA Network. And they're going to say they made it first.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that made me laugh out loud there.
Over thousands of hours of wrestling. It's going to happen.
So, you know what? This is the first time I actually heard you wisecrack on an actual wrestling company. Wow. I'm shocked.
Wisecrack. Well,
I had never heard you make fun of a wrestling company.
It's not only making fun, it's just in the past has proven that TNA kind of do a lot of things after WWE does them, it seems like that. I don't know. I mean,
well, I'm glad you didn't say the storylines because you know what? Every storyline these days is recycled from previous storylines from the past. You know.
Hey, and also only about what he knows.
Well, I mean, everybody's going to think they know more than the other person. There's always the smart marks that are on the internet. The
it was kind of funny because last year in 2013, everybody had like a stable, you know, it's kind of like similarities because the Ring of Honor had Scum and WWE still to it, like, you know, like right now you have the Shield, and then TNA had H of the Eighth. Everybody had a faction.
Yeah, that's true. And all at the same time, they were doing pretty damn good. I got to admit, that was pretty impressive.
This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but Cindy Lauper gets inducted into the Hall of Fame and eventually goes in the Sting at WrestleMania. I'm going to cry my eyes out because ever since watching WrestleMania 1, you know, seeing her walk out, I mean, you know, Cindy Lauper could have been a great wrestler, like a wrestling attitude. You know, she has everything. She has like the attitude. I think it'd be really cool to see her actually wrestle. I mean, back in the day, WrestleMania 1, I think she would have fit in so perfectly with the, you know, with the women. She looks like she would be a great wrestler. You know?
No. Say that again. Who that was?
Cindy Lauper.
Cindy Lauper. Do you think she'll make the celebrity wing?
I hope so. I mean, doesn't it make sense? I mean, she's a woman that kind of got the WrestleMania. If it wasn't for a ton of people, WrestleMania and WWE wouldn't be where it is today. And Cindy Lauper kind of brought in those people that actually go to I imagine to go to, you know, the Trump Plaza, I think it was, and to actually go there. I mean, a number of people, but Cindy Lauper I think had a hand in that, you know, for promotion and stuff to get people actually going to WrestleMania 1.
Well, and then they were even talking about Mr. T going in.
Hopefully, only one match.
I know they've been trying for years and years and years and years to get him, but he never accepted.
Why? Why would he even be in? Didn't he only have that one match with Roddy Piper, you know, boxing match? That was terrible.
He had the boxing match at WrestleMania 2, and then, of course, he was a part of the main event.
Well, I mean,
of WrestleMania 1, excuse me.
In that case, if they would just induct somebody for only a few things they did, then Cindy Lauper, I don't think has a place maybe. Look at it
this way. I mean, the reason that Mr. T didn't accept right away because he was not thrilled about Mike Tyson being in there. He wasn't thrilled about Drew Carey being in there, and you know.
Was he a fan of WWE?
He was. I'm just thinking that he wasn't a fan of where the directions they've gone in the past. I mean, he's always stayed friends with Hogan over the years, and he even made an appearance in WCW, if you remember, way back in the early '90s.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't think it would make sense for Mr. T to be in there. But if it doesn't make sense for him, then it doesn't make sense for a number of people. Because I mean, there's a few people I think WWE that are inducted that really have no place to be in WWE Hall of Fame, like Drew Carey. Like, why Drew Carey? I mean, that's another story. I'm not even going to get to it.
You know what, though? Honestly, the reason these celebrities get it is because it brings publicity to WWE. That's it.
Well, I know, but
Did they deserve it? No,
sense.
not really.
It really hurts me inside because the wrestlers actually work to actually get into the WWE Hall of Fame. You have to have, like what Vince McMahon once said, the number one thing that describes the WWE Hall of Famer is passion. Like, you have to have, you know, passion for what you do. And that takes a ton of, I mean, the stuff that the guys can actually do to be in the Hall of Fame, to be worthy of that honor. Why would Drew Carey even? He probably don't even, they don't even take him seriously. They can't take him seriously as a WWE Hall of Famer. You know.
Well, that's why a lot of the guys who are in the celebrity wing don't really use that moniker. You know, he's WWE Hall of Famer, billionaire Donald Trump, or WWE Hall of Famer and former world boxing heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. You know,
I would do that. I want to be completely opposite in WWE. You know, I want to have like a one role in WWE, and then come back. They announce me for Hall of Fame, and then I'm just like not even in WWE at all. And they're like, yeah, I'm WWE Hall of Famer, whatever. Like Donald Trump. It's funny if you just
even making fun of the idea, the WWE today. Damn, somebody's just not happy about certain things in wrestling.
No. It's just there's some certain things that anger me, and the things that anger me, I'm probably gonna make fun of.
It's cool. Hey, you know, we have our moments to complain, and you know what we don't like. That's what makes us fans. We're passionate about what we like and what we don't like.
Drew Carey in the Hall of Fame makes no sense. I said you have to complain about Drew Carey.
Neither does Pete Rose, but he's in it.
Drew Carey. Like, I know I heard it just makes... Never mind. I lose. I can't just...
You know what?
We'll
see that. You know what? I'll tell you what. On a future show, whether it be a Saturday show or if we plan a special show during the week, we'll have a debate on certain items. Yay, pro, con, yay, nay. We'll bring on a little panel. We can bring on a panel of people that could maybe stop in and give their thoughts, whether it be pro or con on the issue. Something to think about.
It's a really good idea for possibly a new show in the future. Just like you come on with one topic, one main topic you can talk about, and then everybody has their opinions about it. It's kind of like Legends of Wrestling.
Well, here's the thing too. You got to be careful with that because one topic could lead to another area, and we definitely need a moderator to keep it in going in the right direction and not stray away from the point itself.
That kind of goes up.
I don't know. If you guys think that we should have like a little debate show, and you guys want to call in and express your thoughts on that during, or even because we actually do have, and honestly, we almost forgot to mention this.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, we've got something coming up this weekend besides our Saturday night show.
Oh yeah, this Sunday night we're actually having on. It's such a cool concept because remember back in November, I think it was. We actually had
was it November?
I think it was in November. Yeah, I think
no, it was October.
November. October. Oh, that no, it couldn't have been. Stephen Wong was with us. Maybe October. Maybe it wasn't November. October. Yeah, Stephen Wong was on that show too. No, he wasn't. No. Steve Wong was on Purple Laser Show.
Oh, no. It was November because it was actually Alex Matthews that we had on the show.
Him. Yeah.
And then he came on, and then we brought these guys on.
Well, this is the thing. Pro Wrestling Historical Society on Facebook, probably the best professional wrestling actually page on Facebook for, old school. This is old school. We're talking about monkeys that started wrestling. Like, they have, this post that... No, I'm not kidding you. It's really interesting. They post something about Jimmy Wheeler, post something about Pan Human, the monkey god warrior, and the one that actually got the idea of starting wrestling. That's how people observe the monkeys in order to get an idea of what wrestling was. That's how it started. Stuff like that, and just old school, really, really old school wrestling. It's just stuff like this. People will be interested. I'm really interested in it. Felix, I think he's interested in it too if he's on the page. But anyway, this Sunday we're actually bringing him on. It's going to be a 1-hour show, just talking about old school history, professional wrestling, dating back to back then. I don't even know the years, but it's just going to be him and Jimmy Wheeler and Greg Selly hosting the show, and maybe a few guests in the future. We plan on having them. It's going to be really good. I'm putting some more details on the Facebook page and the website and everything that we have in space in the galaxy.
Yes, once we get more details as to what time and if there's going to be any future guests, we'll definitely keep you guys informed.
And usually when I can't catch myself and usually when I can't explain what I'm trying to tell you guys, it means that I cannot wait for the show to happen, because personally for myself, even being on this network, I can't wait to listen to it because there's just so much information. And what I was telling them, I'm like, I can't believe you believe the guys are gonna come on and do this for free, because this is something that should be offered to subscribe to, because it's just those guys are really good. They're top of the line.
Fair enough, but as I mentioned, we got a busy weekend ahead of us. If you guys think the idea of having a debate show later, maybe sometime in the future, maybe even later this year, for all we know, let us know. Send us messages. If you hear us, call in. If you have express a thought, the number, and if you don't, it's 347-202-0399. I almost forgot our own number. How weird is that? Anyways, guys, we want to know. We want to keep up with what's going on and find out all the updates and so forth, as Austin was saying. You can check us out on Facebook, or if you want to get access to all of our social media, check us out on pipebombradio.weebly.com. Has all of our social media access. And keep in mind, our YouTube channel person who's running that is currently on hiatus, and he will be back and updating all of the most recent shows we've done. I think he left off with Ken Doan. Great interview, fun guy to talk to. Hopefully we'll be having him back soon. And why don't you tell us about who we got next week? Because I am still tripping on the fact that we got this dude coming next week.
Well, next week, I'm sure everybody knows who this is. It's Impact Wrestling superstar Norv Burnham. Burnham. Yes, he's in the actually office next week, and he's such a when he walks through the ring, you can see the excitement in his face. He's like a little kid. He's really excited about what he does. But the thing is, people mistake him, even though he was getting beat up by EC3 like night after night. He is an excellent wrestler. He's from PWG. He knows what he's doing, and he's a guy that just knows how to work with the crowd like so well. I'm not just saying that. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, Peter Avalon is his ring name, PWG, in the independent circuit. Like, everybody loves him.
Fair enough. We'll get to talk about his, working with EC3 and TNA Wrestling, and then what he's been doing with PWG, and anything and everything in there between. You were saying, Austin, go ahead. Make sure to look out for the Pipebomb Radio Network, $9.99 a month, and we're going to give you all access. No, we're not going to be creating no network. No, we're not going to be charging nobody to get it.
But we're going to be creating an app. We're going to be creating the Pipebomb Radio app available on smartphones, iPhones, computers, and all of the above. Pipebomb Radio app. And we're going to be.
You mean you're going to start giving tutorials on how to download it?
Yes, I'm just going to make the app just to do that.
No.
Michael Cole is my inspiration.
No.
Yes.
Please, God, no.
It's going to happen. No, I'm going to make my own show. I'm going to make my own show every single week. It's going to be at 10 p.m. on Wednesdays, explaining how to use the app.
Can you imagine Austin hosting his own show? Good Lord. Heaven help everybody who's listening in on that night.
It's going to be talking about how do you download this app for 1 hour. It's going to be great.
Yikes. Yikes and gadzooks. Anyways, definitely a fun show tonight. Great kid. Definitely has a bright future ahead of him. And I feel so old. When I asked him how old he was during the Attitude Era, 6 years old to, 9 or so, 10. Oh, my God. I'm like, whew. I was 17 to 21 during that time. Damn, I'm old. Anyways, no, I'm not that old. But anyways, next week, Nora Furnham. We got Saturday Night Slam back. Will Zach be joining us? Will we be will we be having clips up to talk about the show? Will we hear, what you gonna do, brother? Or rest in peace? Will we hear that?
Yeah.
Probably. Probably not. Tune in this Saturday night, find out.
And we'll talk about the WWE Network and how everybody's been enjoying it, because I know me, Zach, and Felix all have it, so we can give our opinions, well, more so our opinions about, rather than, we talked about it a bit tonight.
And you know what? Keep in mind about something, too, Austin, that's going to be discussed. NXT Arrival.
I cannot wait. Adrian Neville versus Bo Dallas in a ladder match. Sami Zayn versus Antonio Cesaro in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I mean, this is going to be insane. And it makes me so angry at people just going on to NXT. They're saying, oh, yeah, I never watched NXT before, but I'm watching NXT Arrival this Thursday night. That pisses me off. I just want to punch a wall because it's like, people just
didn't know the access that obviously there is to watch it. I mean, until you told me about it maybe about a year ago, I didn't know there was access to watch it.
Hulu, Watch Wrestling, wherever you can get it, anywhere. Just type in, people go on Google. Google is a great search engine. You type in NXT, you type in the date. It plays every single Thursday at whatever time. They always upload it. You will find it if you try. Just never give up and find NXT.
Well, and keep in mind, too, when they first seen it on Sci-Fi, it didn't do well. And it was really not going anywhere until they totally revamped it and created something different. Made it to be the home of up-and-coming stars.
It's its own brand now, and that's so cool. I've always envisioned it to be that way.
Yep.
It's a brand instead of a kind of a reality show like it was. But this time, it's fantastic wrestling. You've seen Emma, who's a product of NXT, make her in-ring debut against Summer Rae this past Monday Night on Raw. And it's so great to see them and how they... Alexander Rusev is going to be debuting soon. And he's going to be insane in the future of WWE. I'm overwhelmed. They're so good. There's so many guys and girls that are deserving of actually being on the roster right now. I can't wait until
keep in mind, too, on behalf of Austin, myself, and the Pipebomb Radio team, we want to wish speedy recovery to 2014 Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, who underwent successful surgery. I don't know if he knows if the cancer was taken out or not. He had surgery to remove a cancerous thing I think it was under his knee or something like that, right?
Yeah, and he actually made a statement the other day saying that if the devil can't defeat him, neither can cancer. So pray for the people in different parts of the country that have this horrible disease, because the snake will get out of their lives. Something like that. He's so strong about it. And he's not scared. I don't think he has any fears.
He has such a different outlook on life. Those who used to hate on him and never give him any credit and just think that he eventually will just die. You know what? He's turned his life around. I can appreciate that. I grew up to always enjoy what he brought as far as entertainment, and I've always been a fan. So I'm very happy that he turned his life around and looking at things in such a positive light. That I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but I've heard possibilities that Jake's inductor will actually be DDP.
Really?
I've heard. Now I can't confirm it because I don't know for sure. But the rumor mill. Until you see it, you'll know for sure. That's just what I believe. But I have heard it, and I hope I do see it.
It makes sense. And he kind of owes it to him.
But as we get closer to WrestleMania, we'll start giving out predictions as far as who we want to see in the Hall of Fame, maybe possible matches that could be talked about. What do you think the outcome will be? Will it be, as good as they want it to be? Because there have been some WrestleMania matches that had a lot of hype, but turned out to be stinkers. And you can't really blame that on them. Okay, let me take that back. You can't blame the match, but I'll give an example. WrestleMania 25. Any match after Undertaker-Shawn, they stood no chance. I was there. The energy was just gone. I was gone from the crowd after that match. They took us on such a roller coaster of emotion that night. Holy cow! And I love the build that Triple H had with Randy Orton that WrestleMania. It just didn't live up to the hype, and it's such a sad thing.
You can actually see in Triple H's DVD, he said that he wanted, after that happened, after his match with Randy Orton happened, if he would have went back in time, he would have had Undertaker versus Shawn in the main event, the last part of the show, instead of Orton versus Triple H right after. Because
that's what I don't understand is why don't they put his matches the main event? They never put Undertaker matches main event since, they haven't since WrestleMania 24, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I don't know. I don't remember 26 and 27. No, 26. I think it was the main event. Was it the main event at 26? I don't remember.
No, it wasn't. It was Batista versus John Cena main event.
Of course.
No, maybe it was. No, you are right. Yeah, the end of the career thing. Yeah, it was the main event for 26.
I mean, very few times has it been the main event at WrestleMania, and the fact that people come to see this match, whether they know it already or not, people invest their emotions into the match and wonder how close people will come to actually taking down the streak. Shawn came very close. Hunter came very close. Very close, in fact, at 28. CM Punk, well, nobody expected him to win it, but he put on a good match. I'm not going to lie, he did.
And in all of the WrestleManias, I thought at 28 it was going to be the time, that's when it was going to end. I thought, honestly, Triple H was going to end, in WrestleMania, in there to get streak that year. Because it looked like so many times
most people thought that the Undertaker would retire at 20-0, but he didn't.
It would have made sense. It would have. That
would have put the exclamation point on his career. 20-0, undefeated. Maybe he's going to go 25-0. He's going that direction. But we've rambled on long enough. We'll definitely tune in to we want you guys to tune into our Saturday night show. Got a lot to talk about that that night, and not to mention the debut of the Pro Wrestling Historical Society. I guess just call it that, really, the Pro Wrestling Historical Society radio show. They're going to have some great material to talk about. Maybe you take some calls. Maybe have some future guests.
Spoiler.
Or what?
Spoiler, I'm going to be angry on Saturday night. I'm going to be really angry.
Well, then you can talk about that on Saturday night then. Talk about it Saturday night, pal. Save that anger for then.
I'm going to save all my anger emotion against Drew Carey alone and just keep it in my heart and soul until Saturday night. Then I'm just going to let it out on everybody.
Zach, if you're listening, pal, beware. But on behalf of Austin and myself, we want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. We want you guys to tune in next week as we speak to TNA Superstar and PWG Superstar, Norv Furnham, Peter Avalon, however you know him. But for now, we wish you guys a farewell. I say bid you adieu, farewell, adios, hasta luego.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to go ahead and close it like I normally do. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Good night, everybody. Good night, Austin.
Huh.